welcome back. It's day 2. The motor's out. Here's the old motor, old and tired and broken. We've got the gas tank done. It's painted as well. Here's that sump Matt made. The rear end is in. It's not fully assembled. These aren't pressed in all the way or anything. But here's the new motor.
So it's a 377, so 400 block, 350 crank. So it's got forged pistons, rods, and crank. Solid roller cam. I think it's 610 lift altogether. AFR 220 heads, and then AFR single plane intake. And then it'll have the Sniper 1375 unit. And then of course the single turbo 78, 75.
And that's from the original build.
Yeah.
I don't know if it blew up that motor, but
yeah, it didn't help it.
Yeah. There we go.
So here's our push rod length checker. It'll go in here. We'll have the studs, a rocker, and we'll be able to push this down and see how much clearance we have. And then make sure it's also rolling on the right spot on the valve. All right, we gotta spin this thing over, top dead center, and then we'll kind of just run it down to, I don't know what the lash is on these because this is solid roller cam, but we'll check the card. But for now, we'll just run it down till it's touching and go with that, so 0 lash.
All right, everything's put back together now.
Yeah, we got the other springs back on here. We might put the head on first, then put the studs through. One thing about if you have all the studs in the block, if everything isn't lined up perfectly when you put it together, you can scrape these holes, and then little shavings of aluminum can fall between the deck and the gasket. So that's one bad thing about doing it that way. Right now we're just putting the studs in. Yeah, put a little bit of sealant on Chevy heads because they go into the water jackets.
All right, guys, both heads are torqued down. As you can see, we got the motor in. We're waiting on some V-bands so we can start throwing the turbo stuff in here for the Chevelle.
Okay, we started port matching the intake, kind of roughing it in.
Looks like it's pretty much done, right? Just some fine tuning.
Yeah, smooth it out now. Ports on these heads were bigger than the intake, so it is AFR intake, but they were smaller, I'm guessing, for their smaller heads.
Taylor's not here yet. This is his car. We decided to go ahead and free advertising for us. Get a different shot. Oh, it's hard to see. It'll look good. I don't think he'll mind. We'll wait till we're not going to tell him. We're just going to wait till he says something. He hasn't seen the sticker yet.
What's that?
All right, guys, turbo's on. Well, at least this portion of it is here. It's a tighter fit because it is a little bit taller because of the new heads. So everything sits up a little higher, but we got it to work. We still got to do, obviously, the exhaust and route all that, but it's coming together pretty good. So far, no issues. Taylor's just over here porting away.
Moving out where that burr bit, so.
Yeah, it's a lot smoother for sure. We're just gonna rinse it out real quick. There was never any antifreeze in there, so it just has rusty water. Radiator's in, so it's all been ported out, sanded down. It came out pretty nice, actually. Now it's ready to get thrown on there. So if you guys need your intakes ported, Taylor's your man. All right, guys, it's all on, torqued down. Now we're working on this guy here.
All right.
I saw you got your new hood, dude.
Yeah.
Out there. I hadn't seen it. Where did the old one hit when it came up?
Right there. Yeah, and then I like the sticker. I like it.
Matt's like, what about the hood? See if he could see it. We were baiting you, dude.
Yeah.
All right, here's where we're at now. It's getting a lot closer. Still waiting on quite a few things.
Yeah, we gotta wait for the push rods to show up, then we put the rockers on, adjust the valves, put the valve covers on then. All the wiring for the Sniper. We're gonna add at least one sensor, maybe 2 sensors to it. So we're gonna add oil pressure sensor to the Sniper, and maybe a trans temp sensor. And
maybe a spacer, right? For all the vacuum lines and
stuff?
stuff?
We might. This thing's got a few ports on it, so we'll see what's left over, but quite a bit to do still. All right, guys, we got the car ready to fire up, we think. Me and Taylor have been working on it all day and since yesterday, I guess. We had initial fire up with everything, so let's see what happens.
Guys, CHEVELLE's running. I guess Matt had to rephase the distributor, but it's finally running. We're still waiting on a few other parts, but here it is.